The stories that I'm about to tell are in need of huge trigger warnings. There are mentions of suicide, violence, hell, vampires, blood and gore, and much more. So please watch at your own discretion. Submitter's name for tonight's true scary story is Stacy, and we've heard stories from Stacy before. When Stacy was 5 years old, she had a curse put on her by her friend's grandmother, so she's had a lot of run-ins with the paranormal. Most people laugh when she tells them that, but it's the truth. And since then, strange things just find her. Or maybe she finds them. She doesn't even try anymore. They just show up. 3 summers ago, she decided to get out of the city. She needed a break. Something like fresh air, salt water, something normal. She booked a tiny Airbnb near the coast, a quiet beach town. One main road, a diner, and a stretch of sand that faded into pine trees. She got there on a Wednesday. By Thursday afternoon, she met her. Her name was Claudia. She was standing at the shoreline, the sun behind her, hair wild in the wind. She looked normal at first. Pretty. Strange. But in a way that draws you in. She turned to face Stacy, and she froze. Her eyes were brown, technically, but not a brown that she had ever seen. In the sunlight, they caught like fire, amber, almost orange. They glowed like hot coals. She thought maybe it was a trick of the light, or contacts. But when she smiled, that's when the second alarm went off. Her teeth were perfect, too perfect, sharp, but not in a Hollywood way type of sharp, like vampire sharp. She didn't speak at first, she just looked at her. She looked at her like she already knew who she was, and then she said, "You going to the party tonight?" There was no mention of a party anywhere in town. No posters, no music, no beach crowd. Just this one girl, barefoot in the sand, asking her like they were old friends. Stacy said yes. Of course she said yes. She told her to meet her after sunset, near the rocks where the pines start, she said. Stacy doesn't know why she listened. Maybe it was the curse. Maybe it was something inside the girl's voice. But at 8:47 p.m., she found herself following her down a narrow path that she had never seen before, winding in between trees and dunes deeper into the woods until the sound of the ocean faded. That's when she saw the house. It looked like a mansion built 100 years ago and never touched since. Ivy crawled up the sides, windows flickered with golden light, and the music, distant and echoey, was playing from somewhere inside. Not the kind you hear at normal parties, violins, bells, deep drum beats. She led her in. People were everywhere, laughing, dancing, whispering in languages she didn't recognize. Some of them had eyes like hers, some of them teeth like hers, some of them completely normal. Then she had a few drinks and started to look at people. They started to look different, like in a way that if you looked at someone too long, things started bending and twisting and flickering. At this time, she really started to feel weird, almost like she had been dosed with something, to be honest. Then the girl handed her a cup. It was warm, thicker than wine. Then Stacy asked, "What is this?" The girl just laughed and said, "Drink it." And then everything stopped and everyone just started forming around her. They all said, "Drink it. It will make you a part of our group." Oh my God, she wanted to run. She wanted to throw it down and scream, but her body wouldn't move. Everyone was watching, including that girl. She said, "Drink it and you'll remember." And she did. Everything after that was blurry, like a dream. There were a circle of people chanting in a language she had never heard but somehow understood. Someone drew a symbol on her forehead and something sticky and red. She remembers her standing beside her, her face glowing with joy, or maybe power. Then came the pain, a blinding, sharp pulse in her head. She collapsed. The last thing she saw before she blacked out was her smile, wider than it should have been. She woke up on the beach alone. No house, no music, no footprints. Her phone was beside her, screen cracked, battery dead. At first, she thought she dreamt this all, but the mark on her forehead was still there, smeared, but real. Her mouth tasted like rust. She tried to find the path again, nothing of course. The trees were normal, the dunes untouched. She spent hours walking the shore looking for her. Anything to prove she wasn't insane. That's when she saw her again, sitting at the water's edge, knees pulled up to her chest. She was staring out into the waves. She looked up at Stacy and smiled, but there was sadness in her this time. "You remember too," she said, not a question, a fact. "Yeah, Stacy said. What the fuck happened? Why did I wake up on a beach and why don't I remember anything from last night? Then the girl just whispers, I didn't think you would remember. Most don't. You're marked now, like me. Stacy asked, what does that mean? The girl then went on to explain that that house was a threshold, a ritual place. It finds people who are already broken, haunted like us. You don't find it. It finds you. And once you've tasted what's inside, part of you never leaves. Stacy then asked, where's the house now? The girl just shook her head. It's gone now, but it always comes back, eventually. That night, Stacy dreamt of the house. She stood at the window, watching new people arrive. She heard music, laughter, the chanting. She was there too, watching from the stairs. Eyes glowing, she mouthed one word, soon. The girl then laughed loudly, and Stacy woke up in a hot sweat, instantly getting up and going to the coast because she was still hungover from waking up on the beach before from the alcohol or whatever else she drank. She needed answers. She didn't ask the right questions. She just wanted to know what the fuck happened. She didn't see her there or anywhere in town before she left, and she was there for another week after it happened. Part of her feels like she is part of another curse now, and that this one is way worse than the one that was put on her when she was 5 years old. When Stacy was 19 years old, she was going through postpartum depression. Snow, darkness, heartbeat sound fading. She could hear it. She tried to end her life, and she doesn't say that lightly, and she's not saying it for attention. She was in the darkest place you could imagine, but what happened after is far darker. She took 500 Seroquel. She felt herself slipping away, like falling asleep underwater. Cold, but somehow burning. Next thing you know, she drops, not physically, her soul drops into a cave. Dark, wet. The air was thick. It smelled like sulfur. Creepy water pooled around her feet. She heard distant creaks, metal on metal. She knew she wasn't alone. She felt someone watching her. She knew this wasn't a good place. But what happened afterwards, she was not prepared for. Then she saw him, Michael Myers. Now you may laugh, but hear her out. She's always been deathly afraid of him. She learned something down where she was. Your personal hell is built from what scares you the most and what you don't like on earth. He started chasing her, that slow, unstoppable walk. You know it, we all know it. No matter how fast she ran, he was always there, right behind her. That mask, pure silence, pure terror. Then she came to this massive staircase, and at the top was a man sitting there, calm, but something about him felt wrong. He had a white and black hooded cloak. He looked at her and smiled, not kindly, mockingly. And then he started listing everything she had ever done wrong out loud, laughing cruel, exaggerated imitations of her worst moments. He mocked her pain, her mistakes, her sins. She was just crying, screaming at God to help her. Once he stopped, he then said,
"Go to the lake of fire and jump in."
She turned around and saw it. There it was, boiling, bubbling. The screams were loud enough to make your chest shake. She said no. She begged, pleaded. That's when it got worse. He pulled out these spheres of fire, and one by one, he started throwing them at her chest. She had felt everything, real pain. She fell down one stair each time it hit her. She grabbed onto the railing to stop herself. Although it was made of spikes, the metal tore through her hand, but she still held on to each spike. She wasn't letting go that easily. Then she got to the bottom, and he said,
"Jump in."
She screamed, "No!" Then he screamed loudly, deeply, "I'll push you and you'll burn worse." And he did. She fell into the fire, and what she saw, she will never forget. Every feeling of suffering you could ever imagine started happening to her all at once. She felt starved, so hungry she had never felt that starvation before. People were screaming for God, crying, begging, but it was too late for them. Maggots were crawling on people's skin, and worse, they were eating them. Not because they were evil, because they were starving. Hunger never ended. Some were eating their own flesh. And yes, she was experiencing this too. Rain fell and it was acidic. It followed her no matter where she ran. It burned her skin like gasoline on fire. People were getting their limbs ripped off slowly, joint by joint. The demons were laughing as they did it. The limbs grew back again so that they could do it again forever. She remembers the demons abusing women in horrible ways. She doesn't want to say exactly. But then she heard a small voice say these were prostitutes and sex workers that never turned away. Mind you, Stacy doesn't judge anyone, but in that place, everything you thought didn't matter on Earth. And then she saw cages, big metal rusted ones. Inside, celebrities. She doesn't want to say who because she doesn't want to make people mad, but they were in chains, some crying, some screaming, some silent. A deep, dark voice said, "This is what happens when you sell your soul. You spend eternity in a cage that you helped build." They looked so hopeless, so lost, like they had been there forever. After everything she saw, everything she felt, she gave up. She dropped to her knees in the flames, skin melting, heart breaking, and she screamed with everything she had, "Jesus, help me! I'll follow you! I'll change! Just get me out!" Then silence. Then a hand, massive, bright, pure. It scooped her out of the flames instantly, like none of it could touch her anymore. She knew she was with Jesus. As she was being pulled up, she heard a scream. The devil, he wasn't red. He looked like a man with light skin, twisted horns, twisted so far they almost touched his eyes. He ran out of the fire, screaming no, like a spoiled child who lost its toy. Then slam, she fell back into her body. She woke up in the hospital on a ventilator. She ripped it out, gasping for air. Trying to talk, trying to explain what she had seen. The nurses and the doctors said it was a typical NDE. But Stacy, she knew it was more than that. She knew it was real. She knew and believed that was God. She was shown where she could have gone, not because she was the worst person, but because she gave up before she gave God a chance. She wants me to tell you that if you are struggling, don't wait until it's too late. There's a reason you're here. There's a reason you're still breathing. There's a purpose for your pain. Get help if needed, but don't do what she did. She learned her lesson. If this story found you, maybe that's the start of something new, because she'll never attempt that ever again. So you guys want to know something crazy? So I filmed this in TT, and whenever you open up TT and you press play, they give you a sound. For anyone who knows anything about that, they'll give you like a music sound or like an audio of something. And when I just went to open up this video to start this part of my video, the first sound that they gave me was, "If you go to hell." That was the first thing I heard. That was creepy. I don't know if TikTok heard me talking about hell and that's why it did it, but nonetheless, super creepy. But what did you guys think about this story, or these stories, I should say? What do you think about the first one? That's a pretty wild experience. Do you think that she had too much to drink and something was hallucinated? Or do you think that she really experienced this? Because I believe her. I believe the people who submit me these stories. I believe that there are things out there that we just can't comprehend, and that there are ways of them being hidden, that these entities or these people or whatever they are have ways around hiding things. And I believe that there is far more to this universe than we could possibly understand. And I feel like that was a good example of it. Now, I want to know who that girl was. I also want to know what happened to Stacy that night. What is she now? Does she have a special ability now? Is she maybe one day gonna find out what happened to her that night, and is she gonna experience something again? Like, that story was crazy. So I wanna know what you guys think about it. What do you think happened there exactly? She wakes up on a beach with her phone broken, feeling absolutely crazy, but she remembers everything. And then she sees that girl again, but then doesn't see her ever again. It's pretty wild. So I wanna know your thoughts on it, and so does she. The second story, that one was brutal. That one scared me to death. Like, if that is I'm sure if I could depict hell in my brain, that's what it would be like, except for she depicted it in a way that I probably wouldn't even have been able to. I mean, the graphics, the detail, the immense pain and suffering. There was another story that I got that talked about them seeing an entity that they knew was from hell, and they experienced the same type of feelings that she described. So I find that to be really interesting. Whenever I get stories that are of people that don't know each other in two totally different states, they've never met before, and there are similarities, it really freaks me out because it just makes you wonder. I, since starting this channel, have learned a lot about the paranormal, and it scares me more and more every day, but I also become more and more fascinated by it. So tell me what you guys think of the second story, and I'm sorry if that was too much for you guys. I know that was incredibly graphic, but that's why I gave a huge trigger warning in the beginning. So yeah, your thoughts would be great. And Stacy, I am so sorry that you experienced that. I'm so sorry about the postpartum depression, and that I can't imagine how that feels. I've never had kids before. I don't know what that feels like at all, but I've heard that it's absolutely horrific. It's like one of the worst feelings in the world. So I'm so sorry that you went through that and that you felt the need to take medication to end your life, because I don't want that for anybody. And so I'm so glad that you're still here, and I'm so glad that you are happier now, because you do seem to be a much happier person just from talking to you back and forth. And with that being said, I am now going to do my favorite part, which is the shout outs. Christine Boxel 1434 is my first shout out. Thank you so much for saying that you love my stories on TT and here. That means so much to me that you watch both channels, because I work so hard on both channels, and so when people follow me on both, it just means so much to me. I appreciate your support with all of my heart. You have no idea. Each and every person that supports me, I wish that I could like walk up to you and hug you and thank you, and I feel that way about you. And your comment really did make me smile, and I appreciate it so much. You have no idea. So thank you so much for being such a big supporter, and I love you. Allie Nicole official page 2732 is my second shout out. Thank you for saying that my voice soothes you. I've heard that a couple of times, and I think that's so funny. I love hearing that. That's such a nice compliment. I didn't realize that my voice was soothing. I would have never have guessed that to be the case for my voice and telling stories, but I love that because I fall asleep, as you guys know, to scary stories, and I think that Mr. Nightmare is the best. I love him. Like seriously, I love him. He is my favorite YouTuber, and his voice, him and B Busta, I love them both. Their voices just soothe me. So to know that I'm doing it for somebody else, it makes me smile. So thank you so much for leaving that comment. Thank you for commenting at all. Thank you for watching my channel, and thank you for supporting me. It means so much to me, and I love you, girl. And my name is Kaisa, and I tell true scary stories on here every other night that you guys either submit to me or recommend to me. So if you're into that, hit that subscribe button so that you can get notified next time I tell a true scary story. Every other day that I don't do the long stories, I also do shorts. I actually accidentally missed a short yesterday. Did not mean to do that, I'm sorry, but if so, subscribe for that too, because you'll get notified when I do my shorts, and my shorts are different stories than my longer ones. Sometimes there'll be shorter versions of my long stories just to attract people to my page, but I decided recently to start doing just shorts that are completely different stories, so that should be good. The second one is please stay safe, and what's the third one? Say it with me. Have a spooky night. Love you guys so much. See you in the next one. Spooky kisses and haunted hugs.